He notes that many of the car owners have already been interrogated, leaving only a few for further investigation. In another scene, Timo, who has returned to Walson, meets Pierre, who is still employed as a caretaker at the same park. Pierre is overjoyed to see his old friend after so many years, and he invites him to his home. The two sit awkwardly in the living room until Timo asks what Pierre did with the recent missing girl. The latter is stunned by the question and quickly denies any involvement in this case. When Timo points out the similarities between the two cases, Pierre dismisses it as a coincidence. He insists that what happened with Pia was a one-time incident and that he hasn't done anything like that since. Soon, Timo starts to feel uncomfortable and attempts to leave, but Pierre stops him and hands him a CD. He claims that it is Timo's favorite video, and it features the dark-haired girl he used to like. Hearing this, Timo hastily rushes outside while still clutching the CD. After a while, he returns to his hotel room and watches the CD. It turns out to be the same disturbing video he saw 23 years earlier, and it immediately turns him on. But after Timo pleases himself, he feels immense shame and breaks down in tears. The scene then proactively brings up the topic of children. When a lady realizes that her daughter was murdered 23 years ago, Timo apologizes for bringing up the painful memory. Christian arrives at Elena's house, as they turn out to be in a relationship. She suddenly says the man who killed her daughter was just here and hands him Timo's business card. Meanwhile, David and Janet are going around town interrogating men who owned a red car in the 1980s. But David suddenly receives an urgent call and must leave. Janet then visits Pierre's home alone and requests a conversation. On the other hand, Timo arrives at the lake where Pia's body was discarded and sits there in silence. He then receives a call from Julia, who is upset that he hasn't come home in 3 days. She also reveals that their daughter has fallen off the trampoline, so an emotional Timo asks to talk to his daughter. Just then, Julia tells him that someone is at the door and abruptly hangs up. It turns out that David and Christian have arrived at the house to interrogate Timo. Elsewhere, Janet questions Pierre about the red car he owned between 1982 and 1986. The man confirms that he did, but has since sold it, and now only rides a motorcycle. Janet then reveals that it's about a missing girl, and asks where he was on July 8th. This makes Pierre nervous, so he excuses himself, claiming he needs to get something. Returning to Timo's house, his wife is bombarded with questions about him. She reveals that he is currently out of town for work, but doesn't know which hotel he's staying at. Christian then heads to the bathroom, and Julia notices her husband's business card with David. This makes her nervous, and she begins to ask what all of this is about, but the detective simply responds that it's difficult to explain. On the other hand, Peter is seen taking out his diary from a drawer, and he also grabs a small knife. He then approaches Janet and begins recounting his activities on July 8th, which he had written down. The woman asks to see the diary, and he reluctantly hands it over. He also keeps his hand near his pocket, prepared to strike at any time. At the same time, David questions Julia about her husband's past and learns that he used to live in Walson when he was a student. The woman reveals that Timo only moved to this town in 1986, where they met and got married. She also mentions that he didn't like his last name and changed it when he left Walson. Meanwhile, Jana finishes reviewing Pierre's diary, but doesn't find anything unusual and decides to leave. On the other hand, Julia and David go to find Christian, and it turns out he's actually in Timo's office, checking his computer. He then shows them the disturbing child pornography videos that he discovered in Timo's folder. Julia feels sick to the stomach upon seeing this, as she had no idea her husband was a monster. Meanwhile, Timo is still by the lake, contemplating everything. He soon makes the tragic decision to unalive himself. Sometime later, police officers arrive at the scene and lift the car along with Timo's lifeless body. This makes Christian feel accomplished, and he believes that he has finally solved the case. Various news reports quickly spread, revealing that the perpetrator in Pia and Sinica's cases has been identified after many years. The next day, an old man is seen swimming in a different lake in another area. But then all of a sudden, after a short time in the water, he accidentally spots a body, which turns out to be Sinica's. Soon after, the police retrieve the body and inform her parents of the tragedy. Later, while her parents are in the The woman is reading a newspaper and informs him about Timo, a suspected pedophile who took his life. Upon learning this, Pierre is devastated, as he never wanted his friend to take his life because of his actions. The movie then ends with the sick man returning to his apartment and grieving over the loss of his friend.
What's up, light skin?
See you again in the next video.
Is that me? Oh man, where's Fambo? Fambo podcast.
Everybody left. Duh.
Well, I'm loyal. Fambo. Fambo's the man, dude. Maybe I take the Knicks against you in a bet. But you probably wouldn't take that bet because you're a pussy. Would you,
Whatever
pussy?
happens to be done.
Hmm?
Whatever help you sleep at night.
I take the Knicks for 40.
Sounds
Make it in.
sounds like a pussy. Sounds like a pussy bet to me.
Well, you know us white people, we're pussies. That's too bad Texas hopped off. Damn, it's fucking cold out. God damn, how is it fucking 44 degrees? Son of a bitch.
Shoot, in order for me to get a chick, I might have to get stronger. I might have to. I don't know.
Man,
Maybe I'm
I gotta
too
go back.
blessed.
I gotta go back to Cali, dude. When I was in Cali, dude, I was pulling them back. I just walk into a room. This was when I was 29, 28. I just walk in a room, man, and those bitches in Cali, they're probably the prettiest girls I've ever seen. Those women. Wow, up in NorCal. White girls and Latinas, that's what they had there. Holy shit. All I had to do was walk in. I never should have left there, dude. I had a girlfriend at the time. I didn't cheat on her, but man, I could have just pulled them back. She was out of town for a week and I went out and I was getting numbers left and right. I was just going into bars, talking to girls. Before I knew it, my hand was on their waist, hand was on the booty. They were all in it for it. I mean, I could just go into bars, do whatever I wanted, dude. Like it was, I took a lot of that for granted. I never should have left there. Never should have left Cali. Had an opportunity to work at an investment firm there. Biggest mistake I ever made was leaving, man. But pussy isn't everything, man. All you need to do is find yourself one special woman. That's what I'm looking for. One special woman. I don't think it's like my Colombian girl. She complains too much. It's not her. And she is such a clean freak. She wants everything clean all the fucking time. Dishes, plates, bed, clothes, doesn't want anything. And I could use being more clean and organized, but she's clean on a level that like she's very strict with that. And that's why, like, I tell people you really should live with the woman before you get married. If people want to get married, because I think old fashioned is good, but like with today's day and age, I don't think it hurts to kind of cohabitate and make sure you're compatible. Or at least get to know the person's personality if you don't live together. Get to know what they're up to, because some women are just, maybe it's me, but like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with being organized, but
he then leaves the room again and proceeds to activate his home security
I don't
system.
think I'm gonna go. Maybe I'll go back to white women.
This time offering her food and telling her that they'll get
White women, mixed or Asian. I think Latinas are too much for me. They're very, if they feel that you slighted them and did something that they don't like, they'll remind you of it all the time. They're very, I'm generalizing an entire group of people. So that's difficult. I'm sure there's Latinas that are way chiller and not like that, but like typically the white women I've dated or other races are more, they're not as like, Latinas are a handful, but like I said, I'm sure there's some that aren't. But the yelling, the arguing, the drama,
Evan enters the room again and asks her to lie down on the mat.
I bet you could find Latinas that aren't all like that are more
He tells her to start doing
chill.
sit-ups. Lily initially
But typically the
cooperates.
chillest girls I've dated are white girls, Asians, black girls, African women are pretty chill.
Oddly enough, he leaves her
The only
alone.
black girls from the US I've dated have been mixed, but
The condition that she finishes her sit-up sets.
I think there's chill women of all races.
Despite
I
being
think typically we stick with what we know best, what's familiar.
At this time,
because I think to do what's unfamiliar is uncomfortable, but yeah, I don't think you need to be stronger to get yourself a lady.
He reaches for a table knife.
I don't think that's what's required.
Evan takes the knife away from her and cuts the food into small pieces.
But I think when men work on themselves, the women present themselves, and you can seal the deal because you got your shit together and you're a good guy.
Yeah. I'm not worth shit to women.
Evan comes to see her.
I'll
You don't
probably
think
say
you have good luck with women?
He then sets up the treadmill and asks her to use it. While Lily exercises,
women hate me more than Kevin Samuels.
Evan excitedly tells him that Catherine has returned and is now exercising downstairs.
That's not good.
He's convinced that Evan forgot to take his
It's
medicine.
terrible.
He tells Evan to seek therapy, and this offends Evan, who obviously thinks that he is 100% sane. Here we learn that Evan is suffering from delusional disorder.
I'll probably stay single forever.
Until the brother walks away with dejection. Not long after, Evan returns to the basement to check up on Lily.
Women don't fuck with me.
Her uncle just paid a visit.
I have no clue why. Because I'm a great person.
She is too late because Evan's
Are you? You treat them good?
Lily then decides to play.
I don't even get to speak to women.
Evan then
They didn't even want to talk to me.
And the camera pans to a picture of the younger
Crazy.
daughter Catherine on the fridge. While she showers, Evan makes the bed. He is now so deep
When women see me, they face get crazy.
Lily reluctantly decides to play ball, even agrees to put on Catherine's clothes. Later on, Lily finds
in a bad way.
With her parents and finds
You scare
get down, huh?
After taking some time to
You
check
scare them?
Lily exits the bedroom and begins to try to sneak out.
Yeah, I don't got no chance to get a woman. Not even in magical land. No woman fucks with me.
I can't tell if you're trolling or being serious, Goat.
Being serious. I'm not attractive. I'm not attractive.
I don't understand what the problem is. You're 6'3", pretty young, athletic, black guy. I think you got to focus less on the looks and more on the personality and talking to him.
My personality is awesome. I got an amazing personality. I mean, might not get on here, but I got a great personality. It's just when women don't find me attractive. They don't.
I don't buy it. Sorry. I don't buy it.
I'm being serious. And I talk to a lot of women. I talk to thousands of women every day. Every day.
How do you dress? Do you dress decent? Do you do your hair decent? Like, why don't you do a buzz cut or fade or something with your hair?
I could dress my ass off. I can dress extremely well. I got a nice haircut. Recently, I got a haircut. Got my beard trimmed. I'm telling you, bro. Like, women just don't fuck with me. It's just crazy. I don't know why God wants me to be single. I'm just not attracted to. I'm not attracted to no woman.
25% on a Helix Twilight Luxe mattress, or save up to $1,500 on a
Evan asks where she's going, and Lily says she just wants to see if he needs help. Evan welcomes her to the kitchen, and Lily is forced to play along yet again. When she thinks Evan isn't looking, she tries to sneak out again but fails miserably. This time, Evan tells her to go back to Catherine's room. With nothing else to do,
I think I'm attractive, but women don't.
in it she discovers that Evan is an overprotective
They don't even want
person
to talk to me.
who punish her for failing at the most menial things, like getting caught in hide and seek. He also pushed her to always practice, in order to become a champion in sports. This, of course, didn't sit well with the mom, since that much exercise isn't normal for a 12-year-old girl. And
Not even the average chick want to talk to me.
as Lily reads on, she comes across a part that says that when Catherine got her period,
The only people that talk to me is men.
learning this, Lily comes up
This is
with an
crazy.
idea. She decides to summon Evan and asks him to give her some pads or tampons because she's in her period.
I'm starting to despise women now.
Before he leaves the house, he asks her to go exercise in the basement again. Lily reads some more until she hears Evan returns.
I don't even like talking to women. If it ain't my stepmom, my granny,
Just as Evan pulls up in his garage,
or my sister, I don't like even talking to women no more.
Your granny sounds really chill.
Evan, who is deeply delusional,
Yeah, because she's very logical. But I'm saying I don't like speaking to women no more, man. They don't fuck with me.
Jeez, psycho. Drive safe.
Neil, who is weirded out, leaves the premises right away. Upon returning inside, Evan asks Lily to measure her height, and for a second, his suspension of disbelief is disrupted when he realizes that Lily is shorter than Catherine. To maintain their charade, Lily stands on her tippy toes to make herself seem taller. He then asks her to skip rope. Lily, who has grown tired of being told what to do, decides to beat it. She then demands for him to hand her the keys to this room.
Women just don't fuck with me, man. It's what it is.
Catherine's diary and discovers that Evan's wife was killed in a car accident, which left Catherine alone with Evan. She is then interrupted by Evan summoning her for supper, and promptly joins
Maybe I'm not meant to have a woman.
Evan continues to do what he always does, despite having been severely beaten previously. At this point, Lily starts to feel bad about what she did, and apologizes to Evan. During this time, she tries saying to Evan that she needs to go to school soon, because school break is coming to an end. Evan tells her that she's going to be homeschooled.
Some things are meant to be, some things aren't.
He asks her to play hide.
Maybe I'm meant to be single.
The game he used to play with Catherine. Lily plays along and fakes an injury during the game, which in reality is a ruse so that she could spend more time reading Catherine's diary. Out of nowhere, an earthquake strikes. Evan guides her outside to safety, and afterwards, they proceed to clean up the mess inside the house caused by the earthquake. Lily comes across a framed picture of Evan finishing the race, and he explains to her that all he wants is for his daughter to continue in his footsteps and become a track athlete. On the next day,
I see some of the ugliest dudes getting
he's in the
women.
middle of making her run laps.
I'm so fucking annoyed.
Straight ahead, don't get distracted. Come on, put the pace on, keep the pace up. No, wait, Catherine.
Just like last time, she fails. However, their little scuffle results in Lily spraining her ankle. With her injury, Lily decides to put aside her escape plan and promises to herself that she's going to train herself to become faster once she heals. In the meantime, goes about her days pretending to be Catherine. Months go by, and Lily begins to get used to the training Evan makes her go through. Over time, Lily
Freaking sucks.
to grow closer. At this point, it is as if Lily already thinks of him as a father. Evan is so proud of Lily when she beats Catherine's old training records. We come across a scene Evan announces that he has signed her up for a track competition, and they have 7 weeks to train. Hearing this, Lily seems genuinely excited to prepare for it, and she purposefully takes a selfie with the father as a last memory of them together. One night, when Lily is asleep, Evan comes up to her and starts apologizing to her for the accident that killed Catherine's mother. Here we can conclude that the reason why Catherine left was because she blamed Evan for the death of her mother. That next morning, Lily tries to sneak away again, until Evan stops her and obliviously tells her to rest for the day. He proceeds to hand her a gift, proclaiming that today is Catherine's birthday.
Gotcha. Off you go.
Lily unwraps the gift in Catherine's room, wherein she finds a new smartphone. Lily proceeds to type in her boyfriend's number and saves it in her new phone. Evan then announces that he's going to go buy her a birthday cake. After he drives away, Lily uses this opportunity to finally step outside and runs to freedom. On the way back, Evan comes across a car pulling up at his house. As the driver steps out, he finds that it is none other than his actual daughter, Catherine. He proceeds to hand her the things he just bought, and they step inside the house. Catherine seems perplexed, because she expected more excitement from him upon her sudden return. Evan immediately tells her to go inside her room, while he prepares a birthday surprise. Though confused, Catherine listens and sits down on her desk, where she finds her old diary. Upon going through the pages, she discovers new notes in certain pages that are clearly not written by her. As it turns out, Lily isn't running away, and she finally comes to face with Catherine. Catherine is obviously rendered confused as Lily, who now also seems a little unhinged, begins to explain that she is a younger version of Catherine, who dresses, eats, leaves, and breathes as her, and that she manages to surpass Catherine's track record. Lily also voices how happy she is living her new life, which only freaks Catherine out. Lily then proceeds to blame Catherine for leaving Evan behind, which messed up his mental health and made him kidnap her. She tells Catherine that Catherine should have supported her father after the car accident, instead of leaving him. Apparently, Lily also feels more affection towards Evan than her own father, and Catherine has no idea how it feels to have a monster type of father. With Evan, she feels loved and taken care of. In short, Lily refuses to stop pretending to be Catherine, and takes
I might have to get rich for a chick to fuck with me, man.
which ends up killing her. Like a certified psycho, Lily proceeds to celebrate Catherine's birthday with Evan, and asks him if they could drive around town together. Just before they leave, Lily decides to erase her boyfriend's number from her phone, and move forward with her life with her new, loving father. And this is where the movie ends. Okay guys, that's all the recap of Captive.
I get endorsement to go watch some XXX.com.
This is from the woman over there.
Which is 35%.
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Also, if I start a condo line, will you join? Earn 5% cash back in different categories each quarter on up to $1,500 in purchases when you activate. Next level dog people give their dogs next level protection with NexGuard Plus. One and done monthly parasite protection against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Get next level protection with NexGuard Plus.
The Spurs Thunder series was one of the best series we've seen in a while. While the Thunder came in as the favorites and as the much more experienced team, the Spurs roster was designed to beat this team. What we got then was a fantastic back and forth series. So today, we're going to break down everything you missed in this matchup. But before we get into it, a big thanks to FlexiSpot for sponsoring this video. They've recently teamed up with NBA star Paul George on a special collaboration called Champions Don't Clock Out. And thank goodness for FlexiSpot because they came through at the perfect time. As you may know, I moved to New York City a few months ago, but I finally found the actual place I'll be settling down for a bit. Be forever known as the Wemby game. The signature moment will be this logo 3 to help the Spurs tie the game in the first overtime, but his overall performance may have edged him as the best player in the world. On defense, the goal was to keep Wemby in the paint as much as possible so that he could go bother SGA's shots. Because SGA loves the mid-range, Wemby's goal was to occupy as much of that real estate and push him out further. On this one, notice how Wemby starts on Lou Dort, but as SGA drives, Wemby comes all the way to the other side to block his shot. If he could block that, you can imagine how that really affected SGA's approach. He had to take more step-back shots than he normally does, but the key was that he was a little farther out than he'd like. This was in part of a larger effort from San Antonio to bottle up any dribble penetration and dare OKC's role players to knock out open shots at a consistent level. The Spurs crowded SGA by even bringing 3 guys up to him at times, and OKC could not make them pay. Except for Alex Caruso. In Game 1, he knocked down 8 of his 14 three-point attempts, with a lot of them punishing Wemby for roaming around. Because Caruso was not known as a shooter, Wemby often guarded him so that he could help on anyone else. That left Caruso as the open guy, and he was not afraid to let it fly. On a night where SGA was struggling, Caruso kept OKC's offense afloat as he led the entire team with 31 points. At the same time, he gave Wemby problems on defense. While he is about a foot shorter than him, he made it hard on Wemby to catch the ball. And because he's much smaller, he could be more aggressive and play the passing lanes hard. This was part of a bigger problem down the stretch for San Antonio. What they wanted to do was get the ball to Wemby in the middle of the floor, but he couldn't free himself up. The Thunder would hold him. They had another defender just waiting next to him. Even if he did get the ball, the Thunder had time to collapse on him and bother his shots. This is part of the reason the Spurs couldn't close the deal because they kept trying these Wemby face-ups. But with another chance to close it out in double OT, the Spurs spread the floor out this time and put Wemby on the baseline. With all the space in the paint, Wemby half spins to make this catch easier. Caruso has no choice but to gamble, and Wemby slams it in Chet's face plus a foul to put the Spurs up 4. Then, after an OKC miss, the Spurs spread everyone out again. Wemby goes to a full spin this time, which drops Caruso, and he drops the ball through the net. That was Wemby's 40th and 41st point, and more importantly, San Antonio stole Game 1 on the road. So going into Game 2, OKC knew that Caruso was probably not going to hit 8 threes again, so they had to figure out a different way to score against the alien. In Game 2, the Thunder made a surprising move, keeping Isaiah Hartenstein in the starting lineup. In Game 1, Hartenstein did start for the first few minutes, but the Thunder went down by 7 early, and he never played again when Wemby was on the floor. The biggest reason was the spacing. Because Hartenstein doesn't shoot, Wemby could just patrol the paint and attend to anything the Thunder tried to do. That's why Dagnall put Alex Caruso in the game, and he punished Wemby all night with his outside shooting. But in Game 2, Hartenstein changed the game in 2 areas. The first was his ability to screen Wemby out on offense. After spending all of Game 1 essentially bothering the Thunder's mid-range shots, Wemby was getting screened out, which allowed OKC to get clean looks. On this one, when SGA gets the ball, notice how Hartenstein just pins Wemby in the paint. That lets SGA go one-on-one, and he can now get into the mid-range. Because Hartenstein is so much bigger, Wemby cannot break free from his grasp, so SGA could then dribble much more freely and get to his spots. The second area was on the offensive glass. Hartenstein grabbed 8 offensive rebounds, with a lot of them punishing Wemby for helping out other OKC players. Because the Thunder knew Wemby was going to roam around the court, Hartenstein knew he was going to have mismatches in the paint. That's why he was first to the ball on a lot of these misses, and when he wasn't grabbing the board, he was pinning Wemby under the basket so that someone else could get the rebound. And as the game wore on, his rebounding gravity got Wemby out of position multiple times and helped OKC get key extra possessions in the fourth quarter. With the rebounding margins essentially at even, the turnovers in San Antonio were much more magnified. The Spurs turned the ball over 21 times in Game 2, and OKC scored 27 points off those turnovers. The guy that's had the most trouble in this series was Stephon Castle. After turning the ball over 11 times in Game 1, he gave the ball away 9 more times in Game 2. The thing is, Castle has had a lot of trouble calculating OKC's range. When he's looking for his teammates, they look slightly open, but the Thunder are very active with their hands, which disrupts those passing lanes. Notice how a lot of Castle's turnovers were live ball turnovers. And while OKC did not score directly in transition, it got the Spurs out of position and much easier shots in the half court. At the same time, though, Castle scoring and playmaking kept the Spurs in this game. Most are going to remember his thunderous dunk on Hartenstein in the second quarter, but aside from his turnovers, Castle is one of the few guards that can consistently make plays against OKC's physical defense. The reason he has the ball is because he can find driving lanes and deliver pinpoint passes to his teammates. So even though the Thunder were leading for most of the night, the Spurs climbed back in the game and pushed the deficit down to 5 with just less than 90 seconds to go. And after an offensive foul from SGA, the Spurs had a chance to really put the pressure on the defending champs. After a horrible miss, Keldon Johnson gets the offensive rebound and gets it out of Castle, except he throws it away for his 9th turnover of the game. On the other end, The Thunder have SGA ISO Castle. He slams on the brakes, goes to the step back midi, and that basket puts the Thunder up 7. That was enough to escape Game 2 with a big win and tie the series at 1 game apiece. In Game 3, OKC's bench stole the show in San Antonio. The Spurs jumped out to a quick 15-0 lead after this Devin Vassell 3, and that's when Dagnall went to the bench and they picked San Antonio's defense apart. What makes this bench so lethal is that everyone on this team is getting hot at the right time. Because San Antonio's defense revolves around bringing 2 to SGA, the Spurs are now scrambling to open guys, which is stretching them out to the max. As a result, it didn't matter whether the Spurs had Wemby on the floor or not, because Wemby wants to bother SGA as much as possible. Now the Thunder can move the other guys around to take advantage of that. On this one, SGA is driving on the wing, so Wemby's coming over to help. With 2 on SGA, Casey Walls cuts to the dunker spot for an easy 2. The Spurs' willingness to double SGA also now nullifies Wemby's impact in the paint. Because the Thunder are just spreading SGA out, Wemby now has to go close out harder than he normally would. For example, SGA starts to drive and Wemby comes to double. That leads to a few kickouts, and the Spurs do a great job rotating. But now, Wemby's matched up with Jared McCain. The Thunder identified that. Wemby closes out too hard, and McCain drives straight at him for 2. This one, though, might have been the most mentally deflating. At first glance, the Spurs defense looks good, with 3 guards all shading up towards SGA, with Caruso moving along the baseline and AJ Mitchell moving around. Wemby's not really sure who he should be moving towards. At the same time, 2 guys are closing out to SGA, so he finds the guy Wemby wanted to leave all series, and he gets him with the pump fake. Because of this, 2 things didn't happen. The Thunder's bench scored 76 points in Game 3 because McCain, J-Wall, and Caruso were all knocking down threes. And 2, because Wemby spent so much time chasing the open guy on the perimeter, he only had 4 total rebounds in this game. One thing San Antonio didn't do well was play better at the point of attack against SGA. Especially in Game 3, they were undisciplined against him. They did a good job staying in front of him initially, but they would get over-aggressive. SGA got the Spurs defenders on the pump fake a few times, and other times, they got way too antsy with him, especially when he was about to shoot. Overall, SGA had 12 free throws in this game, but at least 7 of those were just from not staying composed on that entire defensive possession. So, even though SGA went only 6 for 17 from the field, the Thunder came with a very dominant win to regain home court advantage. The one caveat, though, was that AJ Mitchell left with a hamstring injury, and while he hasn't made the same impact as he did against the Lakers, his absence would prove huge in a pivotal Game 4. In Game 4, the Spurs changed up their defensive coverage by doing 2 simple things. First, the Spurs applied tons of pressure in the backcourt. While OKC has a lot of depth, they have a shortage of ball handlers, with both J-Dub and AJ Mitchell out. So with Shea as their only true ball handler, the Spurs wanted to make OKC work for every inch of space. Because of this, the Thunder wanted someone else to bring the ball up. But by doing that, the Spurs could then deny SGA, so they have to then find someone else to create, and they just don't have the ball handlers to make that work. This backcourt pressure also made the Thunder lose precious seconds to get into any secondary actions. So by the time they're running a pick and roll, there's only 8 seconds on the shot clock, and nothing comes out of it anyways. What the Thunder was missing was a secondary ball handler that could really take the pressure off Shea. Jared McCain is the closest mold that they have, but he's much better as a 3-point sharpshooter than someone that's creating for the entire offense. Because of that, the Thunder didn't have another guy that could beat the Spurs one-on-one. That then leads to the second adjustment, which was playing Shea more straight up. So instead of trying to double him whenever he started to drive, they trusted their perimeter defenders to stay in front of him and make him beat the Spurs defense. Stephon Castle was the primary defender on Shea, and he did a great job applying as much on-ball pressure as possible. On this one, they tried putting SGA in the middle of the floor. He picks up his dribble, though, and has nowhere to go. Everyone stays home, so SGA tries to foul bait, and the Thunder can't get a shot off. Later in the second quarter, Shea has the ball again. As he drives, Castle stays in contact, and Weapons helping, but not selling out to him. So he has to pick up his dribble, and that's a really tough shot. And that was the difference between games 3 and 4. In game 3, the Spurs helped SGA whenever he started to dribble, which allowed him to find his teammates for open shots. But in Game 4, the Spurs were much more calculated with their help, so it
Making every dollar count is important to you, so it's important to Allstate. Drive safe. Congrats.
Mitch Big Boy Balls Johnson. That's what I'm calling him now. Why? Because Victor Wembanyama picks up his fifth foul. SGA hits a tough turnaround. Timeout. They're only up by 6 points, and they put Luke Cornett in the game. My dumb self, was saying, don't trust your guy in this situation. And that's exactly why I'm not a head coach. Turnover by Dylan Harper, but Luke Cornett never giving up on the play. Get that crap out of it! Then Stephon Castle comes down the floor and hits a mini. That's a 4-point swing, ladies and gentlemen. Luke Cornett is not done yet. Look at him defend above the perimeter. Force it out SGA's hands. And then he's the rim protector, making Casey Walton twice. And now it's a turnover. And now Wemby checks back in the game. And that really was the beauty of Game 7. The Spurs, everyone in their rotation, no matter how small it was, they found a way to contribute. But also, that's the true beauty of their team. They're not just the Victor Wembanyama show. Yes, nothing is possible without him, but the supporting cast is legit. Also, another thing, nobody plays scared. Game 7 Western Conference Finals, the youngest team or one of the youngest teams in the NBA, and they did not flinch for a moment. I saw everyone on that floor. No one was scared for the Spurs. But as I was saying, everyone did their part. Can we shout out Julian Champagnie? He had 20 points tonight. And in the beginning of the series, the first 4 games, he was shooting 17% from 3, while averaging just 7 points per game. And then the last 3 games, he's averaging 17 points while shooting 50% from 3 on 8 attempts per game. Games 5 through 7, he was averaging 4 made threes per game. What about Keldon freaking Johnson in Game 7? This was a guy who I thought was very quiet throughout the entire series. And then in the fourth quarter of Game 7, he completely shifted the momentum. 2 big threes, but not only that, he was bullying OKC and crashing the glass every single time. They do not win Game 7 without him. How about 20-year-old Dylan Harper? It's been an up and down series for him, but my goodness, his highs have been so high. And of course, you can trust him to close out a Game 7 as a 20-year-old rookie. He had a clutch offensive rebound. And then what is this shot? They're up by 9 points. This was a semi-dagger. Step back 3-pointer, because why freaking not? And that's what I need. No one on this team fails because they're afraid or nervous. They just naturally fail, which allows them to naturally succeed because they're all playing with supreme confidence. So you have to give credit to the coaching staff. Also, it's time to acknowledge De'Aaron Fox. A lot has been said about him. He's not worth the contract. He's just standing in the way of Dylan Harper. But let's be real. They don't win this series without him, because in the beginning of the series, Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, they were turnover machines. You saw the value of De'Aaron Fox because he can handle the ball through pressure and limit turnovers for San Antonio. So get this, the first 2 games of the series as a team, they were averaging 22 turnovers per game. Once De'Aaron Fox got on the floor the rest of the series, they ended up only averaging 13 turnovers. I mean, that's truly game-changing, considering a big way OKC wins is turning defense to easy points. But also, Fox just deserves credit for gutting it out. A high ankle sprain. That is very tough to play through. And all I hear is NBA players, they're weak, they miss games. But no one ever acknowledges when NBA players gut through injuries in the playoffs. It happens every single series. It happens every single game.
deep into the playoffs. And you also saw a sad truth of what happens when players play through injuries. They aren't as effective. De'Aaron Fox was very bad at times in this series, especially shooting the ball, and he was getting a lot of criticism. But I think a lot had to do with him just not being 100%, if we're being honest. So, yeah, I personally think it's time to give De'Aaron Fox his flowers. He's been getting slack all season long, but what he does is very valuable. AK.
What if that beach view they promised just got 100 times better?
Left, I got Todd Mitchell. To my right, I got a Achilles. I'm gonna start with two Ty. Last time we saw you was lockdown season 2. You came nowhere injured, but ended up winning your first game against Skull, and now you're back with y'all odds. So talk to me about this game. What are your thoughts about this game, Achilles? Yeah, this game was Kelly, first game on the scene. I've heard great things about you in the Waterbury area Division 1 player. What are your thoughts about this game against Todd? With that being said, you guys have already hit that sub button here on the road to 5K. We got some great pump at you right now. Make sure you hit that like button. So we just gotta talk. First main event. Achilles Evans. Good defense. Yellow bro. What's it? Ty Mitchell the rock. A6 over is 203. That's tough, Ty. That was pretty. Yo, listen. Harvard is in the fucking building. In case y'all didn't know. Harvard's at the front of the ground right now. They're going to show off the top eight. Oh!